What is happening, wonderful people? So last night I got a chance to go see Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. And in this film, when Matt and Jay, who after 17 years of failing to book a show at Toronto's Rivoli, accidentally use a time travel RV, they return to 2008 to chaotically attempt to alter the past to finally achieve stardom while navigating the consequences of time travel. And that's all I can say without giving too much away. Let's talk about it.
What's your favorite scary movie?
So Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. When it comes to this film, Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, I had absolutely no expectations for this movie. I actually was not even planning on watching this movie until a couple of days ago. I started to hear really a lot of great things about it, and I was like, you know what? I don't know much about this movie. I heard about it, but I don't know much, but I'm gonna go check it out because people are saying it's great, and that gives me a big chance of possibly liking it. And I remember when this movie, it's kind of like a mockumentary in a way. I remember when it played at South by Southwest in Austin, the film festival in Austin last year when I went in March. And I remember when I was at the festival last year, I remember hearing about the movie, but I legit thought it was a documentary, and I wasn't planning on watching any documentaries last year when I went, and I didn't see any documentaries last year when I did go, and I just wasn't planning on watching it. I wasn't. But then when I found out a couple of days ago or last week when it was releasing this week, I was like, oh, okay. And I read up on it. I was kind of like doing my research on the movie. I was like, oh, this is not a documentary. It's a mockumentary, which is really interesting. So I kind of went down a rabbit hole. I kind of did my research, and I was like, oh, yeah, this is not a documentary. This is like a spoof mockumentary type thing. And I'm a Nirvana fan. I am a Nirvana fan. I love their music. I've listened to their music for years, and I still don't know why they're called Nirvana, the band. I still have no earthly idea why they are, but I legit thought that this was a documentary about Nirvana, but I came to find out that it was not. It was not a Nirvana documentary at all. And when I finally read the concept about the movie, I was like, you know what? That actually sounds like a lot of fun. And maybe when I read the plot, or when y'all read the plot, maybe a little familiar. Maybe it kind of sounds like a movie, looks like a movie you've seen a million times before, talking about the structure of the story and the story that it's trying to tell. But if executed right, this movie could be a blast. If executed right, it could be an absolute ball. And this movie's directed by Matt Johnson, who directed Blackberry a few years ago. I heard great things about Blackberry. I just never got around to seeing it. And I'm not overly familiar with Matt Johnson. I'm not too familiar with him. I do know he helped with Nirvana, the band, the show, the sitcom series that he worked on from about 2007 to 2009, 2010. And he wrote this movie with Jay McCarroll, who I'm not familiar with. I know he helped Matt Johnson with this movie and the sitcom series from 2007. And he wrote this movie with Jay McCarroll as well. And I'm not familiar with him. I'm not. And after walking out of this movie, as someone who thought this was a legit documentary, and as someone who knew about it last year at South by Southwest, and as someone who had no interest in seeing it, and as someone who loves Nirvana, and as someone who thought this was a Nirvana documentary, I was completely dead wrong. I walked out of this movie being okay with it. And if you look at this movie as a comedy, take the movie itself, put that aside. If you look at this movie just as a comedy, solely a comedy, it works. But as a movie itself, take out the comedy aspects of it, just look at it as a movie itself, it's fine. It's totally fine. So if you're new to my channel, or if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I like to talk about my positives first, then my negatives next. But even when I need to be negative, I will be positive. And even when I need to be positive, I will be negative as well. And overall, I had fun with this movie. I had fun with this movie for the most part. While I did walk out of the movie as a whole, solely as a comedy film, it totally works. It absolutely knocks it out of the park with almost every single joke in here. But as a movie itself, take the comedy aspect of the movie out. The movie movie itself is fine, but for the most part, I still had a ball with this movie. I still had an absolute blast, and this is going to be one of my most surprising movies of the year at the end of the year, because I really didn't have any big expectations. I wasn't even planning on watching this movie until a couple of days ago, maybe even last week, when I heard about this movie, when I heard it was great, when I read some of the reviews, and I was like, oh, okay, people are loving this. I actually might go check this out. And the movie's fun for the most part. It's not breaking any new ground or doing anything really new, but if you sit back and turn your brain off, you're gonna have a ball with it. You are. And if you look at this movie as a comedy, it absolutely works. But if you look at it as a movie itself, it doesn't work all of the time. I will say though, Matt Johnson and Jay McCarroll are absolutely both equally and individually awesome and freaking hysterical in here. I'm gonna tell y'all a story real quick. I went to Alamo Drafthouse in Austin to see this movie last night, and before the movie started, if you go to Alamo Drafthouse, you know they play like a lot of, not trailers, before the trailers they play the commercials, like they show footage of like old movies and all that type of stuff, and they played clips from the original sitcom series Nirvana, the band, the show, with Jay and Matt. I was in tears. I was in absolute freaking tears. Like, it wasn't even part of the movie. This was a clip from the sitcom series from 2007, and I knew when I was sitting there watching that, I knew I was in for a ride. I knew I was gonna laugh my freaking butt off, and I did. I'm new to Jay and Matt. I don't know their work. This is the first project I've seen from them both, and I'm a fan. I'm a fan now. I am an absolute freaking fan. I am a freaking fan of these two dudes, especially Matt Johnson. This dude, his comedic timing. Jay McCarroll's comedic timing is great too. Jay McCarroll's presence in this movie is great. But Matt Johnson's comedic timing is out of this world. It is out of this world. Like, I don't know how he does it, but I was in tears. I was in absolute freaking tears. And I think their acting chemistry, both of them in here, is great together. And I think even their comedic timing and presence together is great. They are a comedic duo, and their acting chemistry is out of this world. It is it's a standout in here. It's an absolute standout. And you have to see this movie with the crowd. From beginning to end, the movie just hits you with the most bold and insane and crazy things in here, and things that are just out of left field. Like, there's a scene where they're parachuting, but then before they jump off the CN Tower in Toronto, Matt clips their cords or their wires or ropes or whatever you want to call it, and they have to parachute down. It's freaking hysterical. It is absolutely out of this world funny. And there's just scenes where they break the fourth wall, and Matt just looks at the camera when something crazy or stupid is going on. And he's basically just looking at the camera like, it's absolutely hysterical. Then he's like this, and I'm just dying laughing in my seat, and I'm going like this. I couldn't help myself. I was laughing so much. It's so funny. And I even love the way it's directed. It has this like early 2000s grainy vintage documentary type feel and look to it, which I absolutely loved. And I thought the needle drop, some of the songs that were in here, the soundtrack is really, really good. And the shock value in here is crazy. And it's hysterical. The shock value is so awesome in here. It's funny in the sense of all the things that happen in here. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And the movie actually made me feel nostalgic as well. It did, especially with it mainly focusing on the early 2000s when they go back in 2008 in this movie, because it's technically a time travel movie, which is cool in a way. You see the Dark Knight poster, because that was 2008. You see the Dark Knight poster, and you see all these different 2008, early 2000s like Easter eggs, which I thought was so cool. And as someone who grew up in the early 2000s, it was nostalgic. As someone who was born in 2005, it was really nostalgic for me. It was. And it's not afraid to get poignant as well. It's really not. Some emotional moments actually hit in here. And towards the middle of the movie, there is a very emotional scene, and it's very poignant. It is, and mainly towards the end as well. It's not afraid to get poignant. It really throws these the emotional beats at you, the emotional moments at you, and they hit for the most part. And I love the Easter eggs in here, and it kind of reminded me of The Office mixed with Back to the Future. And the reason that is because the story structure is like Back to the Future, because they go back in time. This is a time travel movie. The way it's directed, it has that documentary type style look, kind of like The Office. You know how The Office is directed. You kind of see, you know, the camera moves back at times, and you see the cameraman's fingers and hands at times in a way. But while I did have fun with this movie overall, I did walk out of it just looking at the film as a movie as a whole. Take the comedy out of it, because when it's a comedy, when you look at it as a comedy, totally works, totally knocks it out of the park. But the movie itself, it's totally innocent enough. It's totally innocent enough, and you have fun with it for the most part. And I'm actually surprised with how much I did enjoy it, because I didn't have any expectations for it. I wasn't even planning on watching it until a couple of days ago. It will go on my most surprising films of the year at the end of the year, and I wasn't sure at first if I'd watch it again. But with how hysterical it was, I'd probably give it another watch. But the story, however, is very familiar. It's a very familiar story. You've seen this type of structure and flow before. It's nothing new. It's very easy to read. It's very cookie cutter. It's very run of the mill. But, you know, Jay and Matt, they kind of give it a unique spin, even though it is technically familiar. You know, they kind of do throw their own artistic flair into it, but at the same time, it's not breaking any new ground or reinventing the wheel. It definitely starts to drag in the third act, and you're still having fun in the third act. You're still laughing your butt off in the third act, but you definitely feel that it starts to drag. And even though the pacing's fine for the most part, it does drag. It does start to drag. And I talked about how for the most part the comedy lands. It does. For the most part, it does. But at the same time, there are a few jokes that just didn't land. There are a few jokes that I was just like, I don't think I laughed that hard at that. I wish I laughed at that joke, but for the most part, I really do think the comedy did land. And I thought the vibe was fine. I thought the vibe of the movie was fine. It is one that's not perfect. It's not a perfect film by any means, but it's one that you can definitely just sit back and relax and turn your brain off. And what makes it fun is Jay and Matt's comedic timing and their banter back and forth, and their them as a comedic duo. They somewhat knock it out of the park, even though it has its issues. So yeah, overall, with Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, I am surprised with how much I did enjoy this movie. Even though it's not perfect, it does have some issues. The story's not perfect. The story has some issues as well. This is my introduction to Matt and Jay. I've never seen anything else that they've made, so this is my introduction to them, and I am now technically a fan, and I do want to see more things that they make down the line in the future. So with Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, I will give this movie a 3.5 out of 5 stars. And with Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, I will say, dedicate your time. If you are a fan of these two guys, if you watched the web series from years ago, if you saw the trailer and you thought this was hysterical, if you thought the web series was hysterical, I think you might enjoy this one. So that'll wrap up this video. Thank y'all so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please start subscribe, like, comment, share in this video. We just hit 1K so a while back. We're now 1.2K, and the next big milestone is 2K and 3K after that. Beyond that as well. If you're new as well, I did movie reviews, TV show reviews, trailer reactions, movie live streams, movie news, movie rankings, all that wonderful movie stuff under the movie umbrella. And let's talk about the comments down below. Did you like Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie? Did y'all not like it? Or y'all gonna go watch it in theaters, or you're gonna wait to watch it on streaming? Let's talk about it down below. Keep talking movies, wonderful people. Cheers.